Greetings everybody, Nick DiVirgilio here, and this is DWe Electrified. DWe is one of the most well-known drum manufacturers in the world. They've been making incredible drums and hardware for over 50 years, and the quality of their drums is second to none. Now DWe has taken another giant step forward into the world of electronic drums with this amazing DWe kit. This is the first ever wireless electronic drum kit that you can easily change over to a full-fledged DWe Collector Series acoustic drum kit. Now let me reiterate what I just said. This is a wireless electronic drum kit. Incredible technology. Greetings everybody, Nick here, hanging out with the great Marcus Ryle in front of this beautiful DWe drum kit, and we're going to talk technology and how this all came about. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to see you here.
Likewise.
So how did it all start? What was the impetus of this whole thing?
Without being too long a story,
right.
It really started back in around 1987, because when or 86, we started a company called Fast Forward Designs. One of our first products was a line of digital drum sets for Dynacord. Okay. Many people may not remember this, but it was an innovative time. In 86, we came out with the Ad 1, and I think around 87, DWe became the distributor for Dynacord. Okay. That's when I first met Don Lombardi and John Good and Chris Lombardi. Okay. And we've been friends ever since. And of course, you know, Dynacord decided to stop doing drums. After I decided to leave Line 6, Chris gives me a call. Chris Lombardi, the CEO of Drum Workshop, and he says, we're working on something we think is really exciting. This was in 2019, so over 4 years ago. And it's some new digital drums. And he wanted me to check it out. And, you know, frankly, like a lot of people watching this, my first reaction, he says, it's going to be wireless digital drums. And my first response was, don't do wireless. Terrible idea, Chris. Okay. Because we had pioneered a lot of wireless technology with Line 6, the guitar wireless, we became #1 in wireless, and it's a fantastic area, but it's also, there's a lot of challenges with wireless.
Sure.
And of course, people automatically imagine wireless will add latency, and then you got to deal with power. There's like tons of problems. He says, just come and check it out. Well, what I discovered is there's this brilliant guy from Romania named Paul Piscoi. He had come out with this product not a lot of people had heard of called the VersaTrigger system. Early version of wireless triggers you could attach to drums. And Mark Morales, who's been the product manager on this, who comes from CAT originally, he got in touch with Paul and started a whole new process of taking this to a whole new level. We evolved it from there to make something that I think is really going to blow people's minds.
Yeah. I'm going to take you through many of the details of this kit here in just a second, but if you need any more information at all, make sure you go check out the best-in-class Sweetwater website at sweetwater.com, or reach out to your Sweetwater sales engineer for any questions you may have. Okay, let me first take you through the drums themselves, and then we'll get into the meat of this whole thing, which is the electronics. Now, like I said earlier, these drums are real DWe Collector Series drums, 9-ply maple shells, and they call these the 333 VLT shells. There are no reinforcement rings, and the outer and innermost plies run vertically. You get less tension on the shell, and they produce a wonderful sound when they're acoustic. All of the hardware accoutrements are top-quality DWe pieces, such as the 3/4 turret lugs, true pitch 30 tension rods, the STM tom mounts, graduated hoops, the mag throw-off on the snare, high-end kick drum spurs, and floor tom legs. The DWe kits come in 5 finishes. There's 1 exotic finish, 2 lacquer finishes, and 2 finish ply finishes. The one I have here with me today is the Black Galaxy finish ply. The drums also come in some different configurations as well. You can buy the drums exactly like I have them here today, which is a 5-piece kit with DWe 5000 series hardware. All around, really good stuff. You can also get the drum kit as a 4-piece with hardware, or if you don't need the hardware, you can get the drums on their own as a 4 or 5-piece shell pack. But since the DWe wireless trigger system recognizes up to 30 wireless inputs, yes, I said 30, you can add on more drums and make a giant kit if you so choose. The drums ship with the mesh batter heads installed, but there are mylar heads on the bottoms of the toms to give you a little bit of tone when you play those drums. You also get a set of regular DWe heads when you're ready to turn your drums acoustic. And lastly, it is worth mentioning that these drums are made at DWe's Oxnard, California factory. Okay, let's dive into the electronic side of this fantastic drum kit. The triggers sit in a removable tray inside the drum, and I'll show you that here in just a bit. The triggers are made up of a combination of FSRs, and FSR stands for force sensing resistor. Those are the center of the drums, and there are piezo pickups for the edges. This gives you great dynamic range and also makes it so you can press on the drum head and change the sound like you would on an acoustic drum. Now I'd like to take a second here, take the head off of the 10-inch tom so you can see the trigger system on the inside and how easy it is to change the battery or even take the trigger system out of the drum and make it an acoustic drum. All right, so I took the 10-inch drum off. There's a mylar head on the bottom like I showed you earlier, and you could see the whole system inside the drum right here. Okay, all the tension rods are loose and off. Let's see what's on the inside. There is your trigger system. If you do end up ever needing to change the batteries, the compartment's just right under here. One little screw, change the batteries and you're good to go. You can see the sensors right here. The one in the center is for the middle of the drum. The guys on the outside pick up the edges, and that's the whole thing right there. Now, if you want to turn this into an acoustic drum, you need to take this out, but all you need to do is loosen up at 3 points in here. You have 3 lug screws, one right there, 2, and 3. Unscrew those, the whole piece comes out and you're ready to rock. And there you go. That's the whole thing. That's why I find this technology so amazing. This inside the drum, the mesh head on top, you have an electronic drum. How cool is that? What were some of the challenges achieving what you guys did? Because you don't see the triggers, everything's on the inside. How did you come up with that? What were some of those challenges?
Being able to have a drum kit that you just set up like you'd set up an acoustic kit and having no cables, really no technology to worry about, but getting all the advantages of digital drums was a key goal. So that meant that there can't be any downside of being wireless. A wireless microphone or wireless guitar has to be continuously transmitting all the time. And it has no idea when you're playing the perfect note of that solo, and if that's when it drops out or something, eats up batteries, has to be on all the time. So here, what we've done is, the first step is all the intelligence of how the triggering works is built right into the drum. So there's this clever microcontroller with some clever firmware. There's lots of different sensors, piezos, force sensing resistors, etc. that all the sensors get fed into this processor. But it just sits there asleep until something has happened. And in a very small fraction of a second, it wakes up, it can read all the sensors, and now it can decide, what did you do? Did I hit the rim? Did I hit the center? And where in the head did I hit? How hard did I hit him? Is the head being pushed on? All of this stuff gets determined in a fraction of a second. And then it turns on the radio and it's able to send a real small message because it's not sending audio. It's just sending that trigger information over to the receiver. Right. So that happens in about 100 microseconds.
That's incredible.
Right? So a MIDI note, for people who do MIDI stuff, a MIDI note takes about a millisecond to just send a MIDI note over a wire. Right? So the wireless communication part of this is like almost 10 times faster than MIDI. So you could be playing 4 hours a day, every day. The batteries will last well over a year.
That's amazing.
So you don't even have to think about it. And of course, the software tells you exactly, here's how much battery life is left in every drum, so you never have to worry about it.
And changing the batteries is super simple. For the cymbals, I want to show you here real quickly. Just take off the wing nut. And right here at the bottom are 2 slots. You just need a Phillips screwdriver, unscrew that. The battery's right inside there, change the batteries, and you're good to go. Now let's get into the triggers and the sensors on the drums. The snare drum has 5 zones for the center, the edge, the rim shot, the rim, and the cross stick. This is really cool. When you pull down the mag throw off on the snare wire buzz sound goes away just like a real acoustic drum, which is totally amazing. The toms are 2-zone, but with 3 sounds for the center, the rim shot, and the rim, with the ability to pitch bend and mute the drums by using head pressure. Just press down to stop the sound or to make the sound go up and down. The cymbals are 3 zones for the edge, the bow, and the bell, along with the choke feature. But what's super cool about these cymbals is that they are free spinning 360-degree metal cymbals. No matter where you hit the cymbal, you're going to get sound. Let me just take a quick second here to talk about who these drums are for. Well, anybody really, but if you love electronic drums and acoustic drums, you can't go wrong with this because you have these amazing electronic sounds that work well with your computer and a full-fledged DWe kit that you can go back and forth with. It's really a convertible drum kit. This would be great on any big church stage. If you want to go on the road and just not worry about cables, setup is so easy. This would be perfect for that as well. If you just like having beautiful drums in your house and you want to practice all day and all night long, you can certainly do that. There's so many options with this kit because you can go back and forth between acoustic and electronic so easily. Now, let's get on to how you play these drums electronically. You need to have a computer. I'm running the software on my 2019 MacBook Pro and it's working just fine, but it's worth noting you're going to need a computer that's fast and powerful. The drum kit connects to the computer by the DrumLink USB hub and the DWe Control App. Everything is super easy to use and adjust. Once I had the software installed and plugged in the hub, my computer saw it instantly. You need to pair your drums to the software, which is fast and simple. You also need to calibrate the drums, and again, that's incredibly fast and simple. Let me quickly show you how that works. Now, all the drums are paired for me right now because I'm making this video for you, but when you get the drums out of the box for the first time and open up the software, you're gonna need to pair everything. So what I'm gonna do for you here now is unpair the 10-inch tom. I do that by highlighting it, hit Edit, and just go down to unpair the tom. Now the sync light is flashing, and all I need to do to pair the drum, and you do the same thing for all of the drums of the kit when you first get it, is hit the pair button up here on top. It turns blue, and then hit the drum. That drum is now paired. Just like that. Now to calibrate the drums, it's, even more simple than that. Over here, hit the calibrate drum button, which is in blue. I'm still working on the 10-inch tom now. Sync is flashing. All you have to do to calibrate the drum is hit the rim. Drum is calibrated. When you hit the rim, it feels the vibration and just knows what to do inside the software. That makes life very simple for all of us when we need to get the drums ready and just get playing. The DrumLink hub can also send MIDI via the 3.5mm jack, meaning you can connect these drums to external sound modules. But you may not ever need to connect these drums to another module because you get a fantastic sound engine with the DWe Soundworks software. You get high-quality, multi-layered samples from DW, Slingerland, and Gretsch drums, along with cymbals from all the major brands. Each sample has multiple articulations and layers, giving you beautiful and authentic drum sounds. There's also a fully functional and very easy-to-use mixer where you can adjust levels, EQ, dynamics, and many, many other things. Last but not least is the RTAP, which stands for Real-Time Audio Processor, which can be used as your audio interface. It's small, portable, there's low latency, and if you use a Mac computer, you need no extra drivers. If you use a Windows computer, the audio driver is in the DWe Control Installer. It's all bus powered, there's independent headphone and main out controls. On one end, there's an 1/8-inch headphone jack and an 1/8-inch stereo mix input jack. On the other end are 2 1/4-inch outputs along with the USB-C jack. It's worth noting that the Soundworks software works seamlessly with all major audio interfaces out there. I used it in my office with my UA Apollo and had no problems at all. Now I'd like to take a few minutes and let you hear how these drums sound. I'll go through a little bit of the software as well, play you some different sounds, play along to a little bit of music like I did at the top of the video, and let's have some fun. Here we go. First thing I want to show you a little bit more of is the DWe Control App. That's this right here. So whenever you hit a drum, you'll see the drum change right on the screen so you know what you're playing. The drums light up in blue on the left, and the picture of the drum also changes right next to that, right underneath the battery indicator. Every time you hit a drum or cymbal, you can see how hard you're hitting it. You can also adjust all these parameters with the trigger sensitivity, the threshold, re-triggering, and all of that kind of stuff so you can really dial in the sounds and the feel of the drums to exactly how you play. Now for me personally, I had to go in there and do a few adjustments, especially with the velocity curve right here. You just grab it and pull. It set the drum to me, which was nice. But right out of the box, definitely try it like that first, see how it feels, and then if you need to make any adjustments, just grab and pull and adjust and experiment until you get the drum exactly where you want it. Everything is right there on the screen for you, so it's really easy to do. Now let's go through the Soundworks software where the sounds are. That's where the fun is. Let me show you what's going on here. Right up at the top of the screen, where you can see all your kits. DW sampled some amazing drum sets in their collection. A lot from the 50th anniversary kit. Just scroll down, you can see more. A Gretsch USA custom kit, one of the most iconic drum sets around, especially for studio work. It's in here. DW Maple Mahogany, one of my favorite lines of DW drums. They have them in the software here. Just nice and warm and just beautiful sounding drums. Also DW's Pure Almond kit, DW Pure Maple, and last but not least, a Slingerland vintage kit. Now, if I'm correct in saying this, it's Don Lombardi's personal Slingerland drum kit, which is very cool. All you have to do to change a kit is just double click. It loads up here at the top, and you're ready to go. So now I'm on chops wound up. Let's see what this sounds like. Nice higher pitched snare. Check out the sound. You can actually hear the resonance of the shell. Check it out. The high pitch sort of sustains a little bit. That is super cool, and it sounds like the real thing. When you want to play side stick, just like a regular drum, when you put your hand on the head, it senses your hand is there and changes the sound on the rim to the side stick sound. When your hand's not there, you get the rim sound. Yeah, toms sound great. Nice sustain, nice natural sounding sustain. When you don't want the snare wires there, just flip the throw off. Pretty cool. Now with each kit in the software, you get a few variations of the sound. Whether it's in the studio, in a booth, direct, where you just hear the drums nice and raw, clean, natural, with ambience, without ambience, you can adjust all that stuff as well. This is the Gretsch USA Studio. Check it out. I wonder what this sound would sound like with some music. Let's do it. Now, in case you've been wondering how I'm recording these drums and what software I'm using UA's Luna recording software. So lots of great dynamics, but what if you felt like I do right now? I think the cymbals might be a tiny bit loud in this patch. Well, it's super easy to change the mix. To get in to change the mix, just go over to the mixer panel, hit the button, the mixer shows up. Now this is really cool. You have a lot of options here. We're not gonna go through all of them in this video because we'd be here all day long, but just to show you, at the bottom you have channels 1 through 10. The next one is 11 through 20. And some of the extra sounds, because some of the kits are big, are here, so make sure you check the other channels as well to see what's there. X pads, if you do buy all the other drums and make a giant kit, those extra drums would be showing up here on X pads. Aux buses and sends. So it's a real, true mixer where you can add effects and all kinds of stuff and mix your drums however you see fit. On each channel, you can change the direct sound, the level of the direct sound, how much overhead is in that sound, because when you record an acoustic kit, you know, all the drums, the sounds bleed into all the mics. So you can adjust that same sort of thing inside this mixer. And also the ambience. If you want a little more or a little bit less ambience, you just do it right there. If you want to give the sound any sort of EQ, just hit the EQ button and the EQ shows up right there. It looks sort of like an SSL style EQ. Same for dynamics. add in some compression to your sound if you want. This button right here is for saturation, if you want to give the sound a little bit of grit, that kind of thing. There's also a reverb button right here, so just so many options to really mold these drums inside the Soundworks software however you like before you even record them. And those options will really be a good thing for when you play these drums in a live setting. So whatever you send out to the front of house, you can dial in how much compression or gain or just mix the levels so easily right within the software. So like I just said a second ago, I thought the cymbals might be a tiny bit loud, so let me just pull them back a little bit. I'm gonna pull back the ride and crash 1. Crash 2 is gonna be over here on the other channels. See, crash 2 and 3. So let's pull those back a little bit too. I can also pull back the overheads in total right here, or even the ambience if I like, but I'm gonna leave those up where they were. Just bring back the crash and the ride a little bit. Let's see. That sounds really nice, a little more balanced. Let's pull the ambience all the way out just so you can hear the sound difference. See how dry that is? You can really hear the toms resonating. That's cool. But let's put the ambience back in. Right, you're hearing the room sound just like you're in a studio. That's pretty neat. It's also worth noting you can make these sound adjustments on each drum on the main page. Over here on the left, you can see the direct, overheads, ambience, all those adjustments, the level are right here for each drum on the left side of the software. In order to make those adjustments on the main screen here, just click on whatever drum you want to change. You see it highlights in blue, and then it'll tell you on the left, and then make your adjustments right there. Was the MIDI, I guess, the biggest breakthrough when designing this kit, or is there others? I'm sure there's other parts too, but.
I think one of the nice things about it is the system, as you get it out of the box, you don't have to know anything about MIDI because it's pre-configured, right? The snare drum already knows it's a snare drum, right? I don't know if you noticed, when you set up the software, it's like the first time you see a snare drum, well, the snare drum pops up on the screen, and then you hit your hi-hat, and there's the hi-hat, and it all knows what it is. Whereas a traditional electronic drum, is you have a bunch of jacks on the back, and if you plug your snare into the kick jack, well, then your snare is going to be a kick drum, right? It doesn't. The pads don't know what they are, and the module doesn't know what it is. Here, the software and the hardware all knows what it is already in advance. It's all calibrated in advance.
And you could buy extra drums and make it a giant drum kit with all kinds of stuff if you want. There's tons of add-ons. I've seen that as well.
Yeah, unlike hardware jacks, there's virtually no limit here. I think we allow you to have something like up to 28 triggers on one system.
So like a Terry Bozzio kit.
You can go all out, just, go wild. Yeah.
That's great. Just a few more sound examples before we end this video. I told you I love the DW Maple Mahogany drums. Let's check out a couple of those. First one I want to play you is the drums in a booth. Let's check that out. Oh, those sound really good. Deep and fat and beefy and oh, really cool. Nice. So you can hear the difference of the Maple Mahogany kit in a different setting within inside the software, because they give you a bunch of different settings. Let's check out the Maple Mahogany Metal. Woohoo! It's a little more ambience, a little more grit, a little more life to the sound. I don't know if you could tell, the cymbals have a little bit of compression on them, so when you hit a crash, it goes wah, that kind of stuff, which is cool for rock and roll. Okay, a couple more for you. The DW 50th Anniversary Drum Kit. They made a good version of that kit inside the software, and this one is really good for funk music, and they're calling this one Chops Pocket Funk. One little side note here, these drums really have a lot of dynamic range. You can really hear the ghost notes, the soft notes, and the loud notes, and it plays easily as well. And the soft notes don't sound digital, which is really great. They sampled these drums so beautifully, and just the way the sensors work, the technology in this kit, just they sound authentic. I'm going to do one more kit here in this demo today, but I encourage you, when you get these drums, go through all of these sounds. All of the sounds, go in there, use the mixer, adjust the sounds, have fun with the software. Don't be afraid to turn those knobs and change it up however you want to, because there's a lot of fun and so many options inside this software and with these drums. With all that said, let's go to the Slingerland kit inside the DWe Soundworks software. If you like jazz, this is a great option. Nice and warm, soft to the touch, perfect for that kind of music. That was the Slingerland Direct. I'd like to check out real quick here, Slingerland Studio. Adds a little ambience to the sound.
What I've seen a lot of people do when they just sit down with some headphones and start playing is they immediately just get lost in playing. We don't want you to even have to think about that you're playing electronic kit. And what that means is if you hit the floor tom and it's ringing too long for you and you put your hand on it, it dampens. And if you want to change pitch and you're pushing down, you can push down on the head and you'll hear the pitch change. Or you throw the snares off. Those sort of details are the kinds of things I think could only come from DWe.
All the years and the amazing products you've made, have been a part of and helped develop, where does this rank?
Oh,
is that even hard? I'm sure it's a difficult question.
It is hard, but I would say it really ranks quite high, because the things I'm usually most excited about are the things that I believe. Every product I've ever worked on, none of it was ever the first of its category, right? We didn't make the first guitar amp. We didn't make the first synthesizer. We didn't make the first tape recorder. We didn't make the first drum machine. This isn't the first electronic drum kit. In each case, what we really tried to do is something that really was a paradigm shift in how things get looked at and what it can mean in creative use. And I really do think that this kit, being a real kit and having the detail we've put into the triggers, the detail we put into the sound library, and it's a huge sound library, and the detail in the software, that what's going to happen is electronic kits won't just be the thing I use because I can't be loud. When touring musicians start to realize that I could never have feedback problems again, I could sound exactly how I want it to sound at every gig. I don't have to worry about the microphone being put in the wrong place, and that my setup time is reduced, but I don't have to give anything up in terms of how it feels to play and the pride I have in it being a real DWe drum kit and not, just a bunch of triggers.
Right.
So I think it's going to be amazing to see what people do with it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that great information and for taking the time to talk with me. Appreciate it. Hopefully you can tell by the sounds that come in this wonderful software, the playability of this kit, the amazing technology of a wireless, no cables needed drum kit here, of just how cool this electronic kit is. And don't forget that these are fully acoustic drums as well. Take off the heads, take out the trigger sensor inside, put on some regular Mylar heads, and you have a collector's series pure maple drum kit from DWe. which is amazing in itself. We only went through a few of the sound options inside the software, so again, go through and have a great time. There's a lot of sounds inside. Also, if you'd like any more information on this DW product or any other DW product we carry here at Sweetwater, we carry a lot, make sure you go to sweetwater.com, the best-in-class website, of course, or talk to your Sweetwater sales engineer, get any question you may have answered, and get the gear you need right the first time. And there you have it, DWe Electrified. You heard me say the word simple and the terms easy to use many times in this video, and that's because these drums and the software really are simple and easy to use, even though the technology is super high-end. Thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with me today, everybody. I'm going to play one more little piece of music to take us out, and we'll see you again next time. Cheers.